Hey, it's Aaron, and today I'm with the 2023 Toyota Tundra. This is in the TRD Pro package with the iForce Max engine. So this is, well, the third generation of the Tundra itself, which came out last year, 2022. And this in particular, the TRD Pro package, is second to the top in terms of the trim lineup. After this is the Centennial. So a beautiful, brilliant white color on this. I actually like this. I normally don't like white. I usually think it's a boring color, but it looks good on this one. So only a couple of additions, including this TRD Pro, come standard with this hybrid engine. It's the iForce Max or the Hybrid Max. So what you're starting with here is the usual 3.5 liter turbocharged V6 that is normally under the hood. Those normally put out 389 horsepower and then go to a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's a really good pairing. I've driven the Tundra in a couple of other renditions besides this, and without this engine. This is the first time I've driven this engine, and I really like the standard setup for this truck. It's very, very good. Toyota took a note from Ford and saw that turbocharged sixes with a lot of gears in the transmission is a very good combination, and so they ran with it here and they did a very good job of it. Now with the hybrid setup, what you get is a boost in power without costing you more fuel economy. So the fuel economy is roughly the same, but you get about 48 more horsepower. So you get a total of 437 horsepower with this engine and 583 pound-feet of torque. That is a lot of muscle. It also sounds really good. Now I know Toyota is piping some of that sound, they're creating it, but when you're driving this on the inside, you hear a good rumble. Some of that also is the TRD exhaust treatment, which has a dual exhaust exit out the back. It's a wonderful, wonderful sound. It sounds really good. From the outside, it sounds okay. The pipes really do add a lot to make that 6 sound a little beefier than it really is, getting more into that 8 territory, but on the inside, it's beautiful. It gives you that feeling of muscle. So, let me think. So as we do our walk around, I'll show you the side. We'll talk about design and stuff, and I will point out, because from there you'll be able to see it better, I will point out a bunch of the upgrades that are added to this. From the front, optional upgrades that are on this right now is this light bar right here, which is pretty useful. It's an LED bar and it's fairly bright. So it is useful if you need to light up a space so that you can see what you're doing up there or where you're going if it's dark and you're a little hokey about, you know, what condition the road is in. These marker lights are part of the TRD Pro package. This is an add-on. The bumpers with their kind of carbon fiber look, that's sort of a mix between carbon fiber and kind of a camouflage, like a black camouflage in the design. You'll see these here. You'll also see them along the sides when we get around there. Other than that, up front, I don't think you can see a whole lot. I don't think the camera's low enough for you to see any of the skid plates and stuff that's happening. So let's go talk about the design. Let's go around the side, and then we will, I'll point out a lot of the other stuff that comes with the TRD Pro package. Okay, so from the side here, you can see a lot more of what's going on with this truck. So the design, I've talked about this before with other renditions of this Tundra. You can see a couple of changes just because of the TRD package, but overall what we're looking at is a 3-box big truck design. This is common in all full-size trucks. You have a box in front, box in the middle, box in the back. And this is a very good setup of that. It uses the Toyota Qs. I'll talk about those. But first let's talk about what's different, because this is a TRD package. So what you're looking at with the wheel wells, you can see those covers. Those are the same sort of carbon fiber-ish, I don't know, camouflage-y looking thing that was on the front of the truck. It's a particular part of this particular package. TRD adds So it is basically a limited edition in terms of packaging, but the TRD removes some things. So the big 20-inch wheels go down to 18-inch wheels, and then the tires go up to these 33-inch all-terrains. These are Wild Peaks, I believe, and very, very good tires. And then underneath there is a change. There's Fox dampers added on and a 1.1-inch lift added. So it's slightly taller, and that helps accommodate those tires and also gives you that big well gap that you're seeing there that makes it look tougher. Also on the TRD, you can't see because it's underneath, are skid plates all the way across. So you have a skid plate in the front, you have a skid plate on the in the middle, and you have a skid plate on just protecting the front part of the rear differential. The rear differential, by the way, is a locking differential, something they added this generation and much needed. I've gotten these previous generations of this truck stuck more than once because you can't lock the rear, and so the wheels just spin wherever they want. That is not good. Now, I'll make a note in a minute about how you can do this a little bit cheaper. But first, let's talk about the design, because that's kind of what we do. So, as I walk in, you can get an idea of perspective. It is big. It's a big truck. All these full-size trucks now are Gigantor. It's a thing. So it's funny because just a few years ago the Nissan Titan was considered humongous, and now it's about average. You know, I don't know. Anyway, what we're looking at here is, you can see the design. Like I said, it's a 3-box, right? 3 boxes. But what Toyota did was they really played with the kind of fender lines that have been with the Tundra from the beginning. So you have this one here, the light begins it, and then it keeps running off the back of the light like that. And then you have a mirror of that back there, where it goes around that bumper or that fender and creates that rear kind of haunch. And then you have these sticking out a little bit, which is really cool, adds a little bit more, and they are flush with the tread of the tire, not the tire itself. The sidewall sticks out a little more, but the tread of the tire. And then these black wheels from the TRD package are just badass. But overall, you can see they've kind of done, every truck now has to have some sort of fake vent on the hood. That's kind of a thing. These tow mirrors are really nice. They fold in, they come out like this. They give you a ton of view. You have 2 mirrors. You have the small pony mirror on the bottom. It's a convex, gives you a good view of what's happening down below. And for your blind spot, top one gives you a broader view so you can see what's happening. Really well set up. I really like these mirrors. I used to be a truck driver and I love mirrors like this. Now, they do not extend. That's a different thing. You'd have to go and trade these out, but they are really good for what they are. And honestly, with a half-ton truck, the kind of trailers you're going to be towing, this is plenty of mirror. You're not going to need more than this. Full crew cab, of course, so you can see the back seat is a full-size giant seat. I'm not actually going to get back there in this whole video because I think it's kind of pointless, but the red interior, I will show you that because it is beauty. Anyway, and then the bed, flat along here, little lip on the back. It's about pit height for me. I'm 6'3", so I can get down in here. Couple of things. Toyota still does those plastic bed liners. Horrible. I'll talk about that more when we get to the working end back there. And second, the lights on this mirror here. The lights are really good. You have a camera mounted under here, you have a marker light up here, and you have a sort of camera looking thing right here that also shines a light when you do a puddle thing. So you can see a little better along here. But honestly, these for blind spot monitoring, they're a little touchy, in my opinion. But other than that, I have zero complaints about this truck. I really like the look. I almost never like a white, and I really like it on this because the white and the very dark matte black just go together perfectly, and it looks really good on this particular style. Let's go look at the working end, and yeah, and then I'll show you the interior more because the interior is bomb. And then, yeah, we'll wrap this up, and I'll tell you that little tease that I gave you. I'll tell you how to get a slightly cheaper version of kind of the same thing. Okay, back here at the working end. So, tailgate. First thing to note is there is a lot of stuff happening here. It's a fairly busy tailgate compared to some of the others. It's not a stamped sheet like, you know, some of start with F, and it's not like, I don't know, tricky. There's no like cool tricky stuff to this. It doesn't open like this. It doesn't have 15 different ways to open it. That's kind of a bummer, because honestly, the Ram tailgate's my favorite because of the way you can just open it in half. It's more like 2/3 or somewhere in there, where you can open this part like here and this part like here for little easy access, and you can do all of that with a trailer attached without it getting in the way, which is really cool. And then I also like the GMC/Chevy versions, where you have like this part that folds down, where you can open it and fold that down and have easier access, have steps to get in, all that good stuff, because it is just, they seem like gimmicks until you have them, and then they're awesome. But this is a good functional tailgate, pretty basic, other than the design. There's a lot of lines going on. Those are kind of mirroring what's happening on those fenders. And then the TRD Pro is stamped in and colored with these plastic glue-on things. So pretty cool. Towing is down there. You can see the hitch. You can see the plugs are right here. You have both styles. Pretty good. And then these lights, highly useful. So these lights come on just like the cargo lamps and other stuff to light up what's happening right around here, which is where you're going to be working if you're setting up a trailer, which is pretty cool. Also has this step, which is an option. The step is just push it down to access it, if I can get to it right. Push it down to access it like that, and shove it back up out of the way when you're done. It's right next to those exhaust ports, but that's not a thing, like a problem. I'm just pointing out that they're there. Also, you have, let me see, where do you access? Right up here. This is where you put the rods in to lower your spare that's underneath there. Now, working on the inside. Pull it down, so it's no longer a physical latch like everybody else. They've got the buttons. Folds down soft, you saw that. And then you can see the bed. So, plastic bed liner, I hate them. They're slippery, they get scratched up really fast. They're not fun. They're not helpful. And it used to be they started causing rust too. Not so much anymore. Toyota kind of figured that part out, but really, these are terrible. I don't know why they keep using them. They either gotta own a molding factory they gotta try to make some money off of, or they have some sort of really long-term deal with these, because I don't know, they suck. And to fix that, you get this rubber mat, which is an option. You buy it from the dealer usually, and it fits in there perfectly. The problem is that even with this up, there's nothing holding it down. Somebody who wants it can just walk up, pull it out, shove it in their truck, drive away. So yeah, it's not bolted down or anything. But this rubber mat is a huge improvement over this skating rink that they call a bed liner. So yeah. Anyway, tie downs. Tons of tie downs. You got your 4 usual points, 1 in each corner with these D's. So you have those D hooks here. Then you have this, a sliding rail. It's also across the front of the bed, which is unusual. Toyota didn't used to do that. So you can take these, slide them wherever you want, or you can remove them, put one on the front, if 1 or 2 on the front if you need better. There's also LED bed lights on either side right there, as well as that cargo lamp up there. And then if you see that there, it looks like there's 2 cameras up there, it's because there is. One of them is, I don't remember what it's for. Oh, one of them is a sensor. It's not actually a camera. So one of them is one of the sensors, so that you can see what's, you know, so the truck knows if something's if you're gonna back into something. The other one is a camera that is your rearview mirror camera. So you can flip the camera and use that to look out, which is pretty cool, but not perfect. Because, well, if you got stuff in here, it doesn't work. Which is when you would need it. Like if you have stuff stacked high enough that it's blocking your view out the back window, it's high enough to block the view of that camera. That's not good. Really, should be using this camera. This camera, however, is your backup camera. And this camera has a wider angle of view and just isn't as comfortable to look at as a camera like that. So it's kind of a compromise. They had to figure out something. But I really do like overall at least the versatility in here. You have the 2x6 things you can run across the wheel wells, so you can stack something up. You have, you know, slots that are positioned just right so that they match here and there, and you can run boards across to make dividers, all that good stuff that you do when you own a pickup truck and do a bunch of crap. Now, if any of you are wondering what that fuzzy thing on the end is over there, that's my backup mic. That's in case that mic isn't working. or it suddenly gets windy for no reason. So just FYI, it's probably been in or near the picture for most of this, but now it's blatantly obvious. I feel like I gotta point it out. All right, let's go talk about the interior, and then we'll wrap all this up. And I promise I'll fulfill on that teaser. Okay, inside the truck. I'll show you pictures because I really can't do this justice by just talking about it, but beautiful red on black interior. This is so cool. You got some of that faux carbon fiber happening in a few places. It might be real, but I very much doubt it. It's on the door, it's on the dash over there, and a couple other little highlight places like here. And then you also have this red, which is mostly soft plastic, but it's this red right here to go with the black right here, and to highlight here with the TRD stuff. You have the red upholstery, which has the TRD Pro in white and black. Really, really cool looking. So again, I'm going to show you photos. Big infotainment, which is really, really well done. A pretty good JBL sound system, not the best, but pretty good. Drive quality is very good. This is a very comfortable drive on the highway. Not as smooth as some of a couple of the other trucks, but not bad at all. Very, very good ride. Some of the downer to the ride is actually those big tires. That's where most of the noise coming in is from, because I did not have that noise in the other packages of this truck. So it's definitely those big knobby tires and that extra suspension lift that's adding to the highway noise that comes into this, which isn't terribly loud. Turn the radio up to about 20, you're good to go. You won't hear any of it. But wonderful interior, really well laid out, wonderful interior. I love this. Most of the full-size trucks have the interiors down at this point. They are very, very spacious and comfortable, because that's the whole point of owning a giant truck to drive around. Other than, you know, you can haul stuff or whatever. They're big and comfortable. Okay, so that is the 2023 Toyota Tundra in the TRD Pro package with this Hybrid Max or iMax or iForce Max engine. They call it both things. The engine cover says iForce Max, the paperwork says Hybrid Max. Whatever. Anyway, the hybrid system adds a little bit of boost, motors, all of that good stuff, but it does not trade out for a CVT. It's still that 10-speed auto. Now, I told you that there was a way to get this slightly cheaper. And by slightly, I mean probably in the neighborhood of 10 grand. The slightly cheaper version of this is to go with the SR5 base model and add on the TRD off-road package. So what that gives you is most of the same off-road equipment, sans the engine, which you can't upgrade to from that one, I don't think. But it is otherwise exactly the same equipment, and it is as far as the off-road stuff, and it is just as capable, and you can also get it in this color, so you know, if you want. But you won't get some of the TRD stuff that's particular to this, including these and that up front, a couple of those things. But as far as the gear for off-road goes, it is identical, and it's around 10 grand or so cheaper. So if you're on more of a budget, that is an option to get this as far as the capability without all the other stuff, right? So the only thing you'd be missing out on is the iForce Max engine, which I really like, but like I said at the very beginning, the standard 3.5 liter turbo V6 is wonderful. It's a really good setup, especially with that 10-speed auto transmission. You really don't need more than that unless you need more speed or more towing. Other than that, you really don't need it. It does really good by itself without the extra hybrid stuff added on. The hybrid stuff I consider to be a bonus, not a requirement. So there you go. That's what I got. This has been Aaron talking about the 2023 Tundra TRD Pro Hybrid Max / iForce Max. Talk to you again soon.